You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world, said Jesus to his disciples. This passage follows immediately after the Beatitudes. The teaching of how to achieve pure and perfect happiness. This past December, my wife Marcia and I had the privilege and the adventure to a pilgrimage in Assisi in Rome. And when we arrived in Assisi, it was the beautiful city on the mountain. It glowed and it was of medieval charm. And it gave us a sense, and it was as if St. Francis of Assisi, the spiritual powerhouse that he was, the love and the charity in his heart and his life was there as we trotted up and down the cobblestone roads, jumping out of the way of oncoming cars and motor scooters. It was a wonderful place to be. And the thing about Francis was, he was a light to his generation and a light that still shines today in the world. He gave himself to the gospel of Jesus Christ without compromise. In fact, when he went to Rome initially, he spoke and said, "My rule for my order, my friars and myself, will be the gospel of the Lord." The Pope said, "Well, you're going to need a little more guidance and structure to your order, Francis." And he went back and did it. He brought it. But there is an amazing power in the radical giving of ourselves to the gospel of Jesus Christ. We actually become living Beatitudes. Beatitude is a word which means happiness, true, deep, abiding happiness, a joy that this world cannot provide. The way is very clear. Blessed are they who are poor in spirit. What does that mean, poor in spirit? I thought we were supposed to be rich. No, we are to admit that we are poor on our own. We need God to fill our lives with purpose and life. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. As we hunger for God and the righteousness and right living, our lives are filled with his joy and with happiness. Francis was a powerhouse in his time, and he still speaks to us to this day. We have before us the opportunity, the calling to be transformed by Christ, a radical transformation. It's almost overwhelming at times, but if we want to enter through the narrow gate, this is the way to true joy and true happiness. Our church must live and be the light of Christ to the world, because Jesus said, then they will see your works, they will see what you do, and they will see your life, and they will come and believe. Friedrich Nietzsche was a German philosopher of the 19th century that coined a phrase that said, he said, God is dead. Well, not literally God himself dead, but what he meant was God was dead in the people. The people did not have the life of God. And what he said was, I might believe in their Redeemer if his followers looked more redeemed. And so we have this challenge before us as Jesus has called us to be, salt of the earth that seasons and preserves the life and the goodness of this world that he's created. Light to bring those from darkness, those that live in darkness, as St. Paul said to the Philippians, that you are blameless, innocent, and that you shine like light in the midst of the darkness of a crooked and perverse generation. Now that was the first century. What about our time? Are we shining like that light into the darkness of our age? I know some of you are thinking, what is that dopey deacon doing holding on to this here? All right? You know what this is? I've used this quite a few times since I've been here. Who knows what this is? It's a funeral pall, P-A-L-L, a pall. It is draped over a casket when the deceased is brought forward down the procession to the funeral mass. I've assisted many funeral directors and family members in applying this over the caskets. My point here is that this will someday be draped over my casket as it's wheeled to the front. It's not to be morbid, it's the reality. This funeral pall will be over my casket as it's wheeled to the front. And from this point until that time, I really have one question to answer to God. One question to answer our Lord. And it's not unlike the question that there are two coaches that will go to their locker rooms today hoping to have a Super Bowl championship. And they will talk to their players, they will fire them up, and they will tell them to give it all and go for it, yada, yada, yada. And then they might say the same thing that I think God would say to me. Leave it all on the field.